Hello there, how are you today? It's another pleasant time to be on this platform to dish out teachings and learning. All right, how you all doing? Hope you're keeping safe. How are your parents? And I hope you are always washing your hands under running water, applying hand sanitizer, and if you must go out with your parent, I hope you've been going out wearing your nose mask. And please, most importantly, I hope you have been you've been watching all the video online. We've been watching all the video online, and you've been doing all the assignment that were uploaded online. And don't you forget, there is an added option to your profile now where you can send any challenging question to me directly into my Gmail. You just click on the send message. Whatever question you have, you send it directly to my Gmail and I will get it. Please, another set of tests is coming up on the 1st of July. It's going to run through from 1st of July to 7th of July. You're expected to study everything that we have taught you on these online classes from week 1 to week 6. All right? So, please, I beg you, study and study and study. All right, today we'll be looking at the subject mathematics, and what we want to do today is division. Division is what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be dividing whole number by whole number. We're going to divide whole number by multiples of 10. We're going to divide whole number by decimals. We're going to divide decimals by whole number, and finally we're going to divide decimals by decimals. All right, math is very simple, it's easy. You just need to follow the step-by-step approach to it, and you're on your way to becoming the mathematician that you desire to be. All right, so please put your mind to it. If there's anything you don't understand, just pen down your question so as we go on, or you can send it directly into my Gmail. All right, so let's go into the topic of today in details. I just told you that the subject today is mathematics, and the topic is division of whole numbers and decimals. Division of whole numbers and decimal, and it's for class 6, year 6, primary 6. And this topic is for 6th week. All right, let's go into the learning objectives. That is those things you're expected to learn, or you're expected to know at the end of today's class. All right, learning objectives. At the end of this class, each of you should be able to divide whole numbers by 2-digit and 3-digit numbers. At the end of this class, you should be able to divide whole numbers by 2 digits and 3-digit numbers. Number 2, you should be able to divide decimal numbers by powers of 10, or divide decimal numbers by multiples of 10. All right, multiples of 10s are 10, 20, 30, dash, 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 100, 200, 300, dash, 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 500, 1000. Those are multiples of 10. So you should be able to divide decimals by multiples of 10, and also divide decimals by whole numbers, and finally you should be able to divide decimals by decimals. Am I too fast? I'm going to go again. Lastly, you should be able to divide decimal numbers by multiples of 10. You should be able to divide decimal numbers by whole numbers, and finally you should be able to divide decimal numbers by decimal numbers. All right, so let's go into it. What is division? I said here that division can be said to be repeated subtraction. Division can be said to be repeated subtraction. What do we mean by that? Quickly take a look at this. We said division can be said to be repeated subtraction. For instance, if you have 8 divided by 2, we said division can be said to be repeated subtraction. How is that possible? Now, if I continue to subtract 2 from 8, and note how many times I am subtracting 2 from 8, I will end up by getting how many 2 I have in 8. Just watch me. The first thing I do is 8 minus 2, that gives me 6. 6. Is that okay? The next one I do 6 minus 2, that gives me 4. Are you following? The next I do is 4 minus 2, that gives me 2. Is that okay? Then finally, I now do 2 minus 2, that gives me 0. So I'm going to count number of times I have subtracted 2 from 8, and that will give me my answer. I'm going to count number of times I have subtracted 2 from 8, and that will give me my answer. So let's count. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and that is 4. So I have subtracted 2 from 8 4 times before I finally got my answer 0. Therefore, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Isn't that correct? So that's what we meant by division being repeated addition. That's what we mean by division being repeated addition. Is that clear? So let's go back to the exercise that we are looking at over there. So we just proved that division can be said to be repeated addition from what I have shown up here. You continually subtract, you're dividing 8 by 2, you'll be subtracting 2 from 8 until you finally get 0. You'll be subtracting 2 from 8 until you finally get 0. Is that clear? Which I did here until I got 0. So I counted number of times, I subtracted 2 from 8, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now, let's go to this place. Division of whole numbers by multiples of 10. Division of whole numbers by multiples of 10. I told you initially that multiples of 10 are numbers like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 200, 300, all up to 1,000, all right, etc. Numbers that have zeros at the end of them are multiples of 10, okay? So I said are multiples of 10. All these numbers that I've mentioned here are multiples of 10. Is that okay? Now, I said it is very easy dividing with multiples of 10. That is the easiest way, easiest division ever. Dividing by multiples of 10 is the easiest division ever. You want to find out why I said that is the easiest division ever? Okay, come with me into the next slide. As we take some examples, then you would agree with me that division by multiples of 10 is the easiest division ever. All right, look at number 1. Example says divide 70 by 10. Oh, piece of cake. Divide 70 by 10. That's a piece of cake. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, right, let me write that here. I said 1 is 70 divided by 10. I said the easiest division is dividing by multiples of 10. The easiest division is dividing by multiples of 10. So let me show you how this is done. Dividing by multiples of 10, see how it's done. So what you do is this. You can say 70 over 10, okay? You say 70 over 10 because division means over. Division means over. Now, there are two things. This number up here is called the dividend, while the number below here is called divisor. So I'm going to explain. The number that is supposed to be divided is called the dividend. The number to be divided is called the dividend. I repeat again, the number to be divided is called the dividend. While the number used to divide is called the divisor. The number that you're using to divide is called the divisor. So the number that you are dividing that is on top which is your numerator, is your dividend. Your numerator, which is the number you want to divide, the one on top, is your dividend, while the number below, which is the number you are using to divide, that is your denominator, is your divisor. Now, what you're going to look at, first of all, is this is 7 and 0, this is 1 and 0, 10. You can see something is common. Can you tell me what is common that you have up there and you also have down here? Something that is common up here that you also have down here. And that thing is what? Can you whisper it into my ears? Yes, yes, the number that is common up and down in the numerator and the denominator is 0. Is 0. So what you're going to do is simply cross out the 0 and write out what you're left with, and that will be 7 over 1. 7 over 1 is what you are left with. And any number divided by 1 is that number. Anything divided by 1 is that thing. So whatever is divided by 1 is that thing. Whatever number is divided by 1 is that number. Therefore, 7 divided by 1 is 7. Is that clear? You see, it's so easy. That's why I told you that division by multiples of 10 is the easiest division ever. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, let's continue to take other examples. Let's continue to take other examples. Let's continue to take other examples. So we have done example number 1. Let's take example number 2. That says 451 divided by 2. 451 divided by 2. So let's see, excuse me please, divided by 20. 451 divided by 20. So let me write that one out. Let me write that one out. 451 divided by 20. Number 2 says 451 divided by 20. Way to go. All right. Way to go. Let's see how that is done. Okay. Way to go. 451 divided by 20. There's a way you can do this. There's a way you can do this. All right. Now, this ends with 0. This doesn't end with 0. First of all, write it like this. You have 451 over 20. 451 over 20. What do you do? Now, you can do this. I told you that multiples of 10 is the easiest division ever. Okay, I want this to look like this. I can easily say 20 is the same thing as 2 times 10. Do you agree? Do you agree? 20 is the same thing as 2 times 10. Do you agree? Yes, you do. Now, if you agree with me, therefore, we can go ahead to do this, to say 451 over 2 times 10. Do you agree? Do you agree with me? Okay, if you agree with me then, let's continue. Now, if that is so, you can still go ahead and do this and say 451 over 10, okay, times 1 over 2. Now you are confused, are you? Don't get confused, it's the same thing. This 2 times 10 is the same thing you still have here. Your 10 times 2 is the same thing as your 20. And your 451 is as good as saying 451 times 1. Okay, in order not to clear your confusion, let's use the 10 first. 10 times 2. I think that way you won't be confused. So the 10 comes first before the 2. So the same thing here, 10 times 2, and my 51 is the same thing as saying, my 451 is the same thing as saying 1 over 2. Now, if you also agree with me, now let's do this one. If you are dividing by multiples of 10, your decimal point goes from This is my right and this is my left. This is my left, this is my right. You're dividing by multiples of 10. Your decimal, if you're dividing by multiples of 10, your decimal point goes, let me turn this way. So this is my right. If you're watching me, so let me turn this way so you can understand. This is my right and this is my left. So the decimal point goes from my right inwardly according to the numbers of zeros that we have here. The decimal point goes inwardly from the right to the left according to the number of zeros we have here. So having said that, what that means is that this will now become, write your 451. That means my point is going inward just one time. Point. Okay? So that becomes 445.1. Don't forget, you still have this there, times 1 over 2, then this one over 1. If you agree, this means 45.1 times 1, then this means 1 times 2. So that gives us what? You have, are you still with me? 45.1 over 2. Then you can now divide. You can now divide. How? Let's use fast method division. You can say 2 here, 1. Okay? 2 in 4, 2. 2 in 5, 2. Put your point. Remainder 1. Put it right there. Okay? 1 and 1 becomes 11. 1 and 1, 11. So 2 in 11, that is 5. Remainder 1. So put that 1. Let me do that again. So in case you can't see what I'm doing, let me do that again. Let me bring it right here. What I was doing is this. I said 45.1 over 2. I said 2 here, 1. 2 in 4 is 2. 2 in 5 is what? 2 in 4, 2. 2 in 5 is 2. Remainder 1. Put the 1 here. But before you move ahead, put your point over there. So 2 in 11 is 5. Remainder 1. All right? So put 0, add 0 to your 1. So 2 in 10 is 5. So your answer is 22.55. Your answer is 22.55. Your answer is 22.55. Have you seen that? Have you seen that? Now, let's assume this is too long. You wanted a short way of doing it. Yes, you can do a short way. All right. And the short way will be this. The short way will be this. Let me clean this and show you the short way. I hope you understood this one. This is your answer for this one. So let me show you the short way of doing this one. All right. This will now be, let me show you the short way. 451 divided by 20. All right. We know that this is 451. I write that again. 451 divided by 20. So it will be 451 over 20. Now, in order to make it easier for you, now we know that 400 can easily be divided by 20. Okay? 400 can easily be divided by 20. And in 51, you only have two 20s in 51. What I'm trying to say is you can separate it. You can say 440, all right, plus 11 over 20. Is that okay? Are you confused? Are you confused? You can do this over 20. Okay? Now, you now come here to say 440 divided by 20 plus that same 11 divided by 20. Because this 20 is dividing your 440. Don't forget, we did it this way so that it will be easier for you to be able to divide. Okay? This is 450 is it like saying 440 plus 11 gives you 451. So over 20. This over 20 is dividing 440 as well as 11. Then this 0 can cancel out. When that 0 cancel out, what's left? You can say 2 here, 1, 2 here, 2, 2 here, 2. So you already have, what you now have is 22 plus 11 over 20. Now, if you have to write the answer in mixed fraction, your answer is 22 whole number 11 over 20. That is a mixed fraction. But if you have to write the answer in decimal, or better still, you can say your answer is 22, sorry, the answer is 22. Say 22, 11 over 20, or 22 remainder 11. So you can write 22, 11 over 20, or 22 remainder 11. But if you are asked to take it to decimal, so it would have been write your 22. Now, to change this one to decimal, put point here. That brings 0 here. Okay? How many 20 in 110? That is what? 5. Remaining 10. Okay? Put 0 there again. That is 100. How many 20 in 100? 5. This was what we got the other time. So if you write 22, 11 over 20, you're correct. If you write 22 remainder 11, you're correct. If you write 22.55, you are equally correct. Do not forget, I told you, you call numbers after decimals singly. That is, you call them one by one. You call numbers after decimal point one by one singly. All right, let's move on to the third one before we now go to the next thing. Let's do one more of the example before we now go to the next thing. I hope you understood that one. I hope you understood that one. So let's go to the next example before we now move on. The next example says 172 divided by 30. 172 divided by 30. Okay, so we're going to do 1 to 3. I leave the 4 to 5 for you to do at home. Is that okay as you watch? So let's do 172 divided by 30. So come with me, let's do that. Come with me, let's do that. 172 divided by 30. First of all, write your dividend. Your dividend is the number you want to divide. That is 172. And over your divisor. Your divisor is the number that you're supposed to divide. Okay, now, having said that, we can also do this one like we did the first one. But if you're confused, let us go ahead and just let's first of all use the first method. The first method, what I did was, the same thing applies here. Say 172 times 1, okay? Break this one down to 10 times 3. Do you agree? 10 times 3. Now, let's now move on. So this one is same thing as saying 172 over 10 times 1 over 3. Change this one. I told you when a number is divided by multiples of 10, I told you that the decimal point comes from the right inwardly to the left according to the number of zeros that number has. Now, what I mean is, write your 172, pardon me please, 172. Therefore, the decimal point is going to move from the right to the left one time. The decimal point is going to move from the right to the left one time. So this is what I'm saying. So it goes this way. 1. That's your point. So what you have is 117.2 over 1 times 1 over 3. Okay? 1 over 3. Now, this will now become 17.2 times 1 over 1 times 3. So what you now have is 17.2 times 1 still remains 17.2 over 1 times 3 still remains 3. Now let's divide. 3 here, 1. 3 in 17. Yes? 3 in 17 is what? Is what? 5. 5. Remaining what? Remaining 2. But before you write that, put your point and put 2 here. So 3 in 22. 3 in 22 is 7. Remaining 1. Add 0 to it again. 3 in 7 is 3. Now, if you continue to divide, you will continue to have 5.73333. So that is why if you use a calculator, the answer you will get is 5.7333 continuously like that. So it's better we stop here after 2 digits after your decimal point. Is that clear? It's better we stop here after two digits after your decimal point. All right. Let's look for another way to solve that one. Let's look for another way to solve that one. All right. So let me quickly show you the second way. I'm going to wipe this off right now. I'm going to wipe this. So our answer is 5.73. So let me use the second method. Now, having known that you can only have 530 in 172. So 530 in 172. So that goes to say that 5 times 30 is what? 5 times 30 is what? 150. All right? If that is true, that means we can say that this will be 150 plus, take 150 away from 172. What do you have left? Yes, tell me. You have 22. 22 over, do the same thing here. Do the same thing here. Now say over, no, don't do the same thing, over 30, okay? Now say over 30. Now, what you're going to have is now 150 divided by this same 30 plus that same 22 over 30, okay? Over 30. So what you do is this 0 cancel out, right? When that 0 cancel out, then you can now say 3 here 1, 3 here 5. So you have 5 plus 22 over 30. Therefore, your answer is 5 whole number 22 over 30. But if you want to take it to decimal, what you do is this. You want to take it to decimal, what you do is this. Or you can as well say your answer is 5 remainder 22. So if you want to take it to decimal, this is what you do. To decimal, you say or say 5 point. Now you know that this one is over 22. Over 22. So put 0 here. All right. That 0 cancel that 0 right there. How many 3 in 22? That is 7. Remainder what? Remainder what? 1. Okay, good, good, good. Now, can 3 divide 1? No. You put another 0 there. So 3 in 10 is what? 3. Now, this is exactly what we got in the first one. So, you have to stop here. Else, you will continue to get 5.733333. So, now it is safe for us to stop here. So, your answer can be 5 whole number. Your answer can be 5 whole number 22 over 30 or 5 remainder 22 or 5.73. All right. So let's now go to another thing under the division that we're talking about today. Let's go to another thing under the division that we're talking about today. I hope you're getting it. Math is very simple. I hope you're getting it. Now, let's now go to another thing on the division we're doing today. Let's go to division of decimals. Division of decimals. I said division of decimals by powers of 10 is what we want to look at next. Division of decimals by powers of 10. I said here, to divide any decimal by powers of 10, the decimal point in the decimal is shifted to the left. To divide any decimal by powers of 10, the decimal point in the decimal is shifted to the left. That is, inwardly, according to the number of zeros in the powers of 10 used in dividing the decimal. I said it earlier on. You are dividing a decimal by powers of 10, just shift the decimal point inwardly. Just shift the decimal point inwardly according to the number of zeros that your divisor, that is the number that you're using to divide, have or has. Okay, now let's see an example under that so that I won't just be talking, you understand what I'm trying to talk about here. Look at the first example. I said 242.1 divided by 10. 242.1, so let me write it under the example. 242.1 divided by 10. Let's see how that is done. 242 divided by 1, 242.1 divided by 1. So see how this is done. What I'm saying is that write your dividend. Your dividend is the number you want to divide. That is 242.1 over your divisor. Your divisor is the number that you are using to divide. Your divisor is the number you're using to divide. So that will be over 10. You do not need to sweat. You do not need to fret. Simply push this decimal point inwardly one time because your divisor has only one zero. What if it has two zeros? Push the decimal point inwardly 2 times. What if it has 3 zeros? Push the decimal point inwardly 3 times. What if it has 4 zeros? Push your decimal point inwardly 4 times. That's all. That's how it's done. So what I'm saying is, just write only your dividend. 242.1. You don't need to write this. Now what you just need is your action. And the action is this. You're pushing this decimal point inwardly 1 time. 1. And your points are shifted from here to here. So your answer will now be 24.21. And that's your answer. Your answer will now be 24.21. That is the easiest way to divide a decimal by multiples of 10. The easiest way to divide decimal by multiples of 10. So just shift the decimal point inwardly 1 time because this one has 1 0. All right, let's take another example. Let's take another example before we move on. Let's take another example before we move on. Yes, you can see our answer. That's why our answer here is 24.21. 24.21. All right, let's take the second example. Let's take the second example. The second example says, let's take the second example. The second example says 242.1 divided by 1,000. The same rule applies. The same rule applies. 241.1 divided by 1,000 means the decimal points in the decimal will be shifted to the left, that is inwardly, 3 times because there are 3 zeros in the powers of 10 used in the division. So your decimal point is going to be shifted inwardly 3 times because your divisor, which is this number you're using to divide, has 3 zeros. So let's see how that will be done. Let's see how that will be done. Firstly, you need to write your dividend, which is the number you're dividing. That is 242.1, then over your divisor, over 1,000, over 1,000. Now, what you need to do is write only your dividend, that is 242.1. Then the next thing you need to do is now shift inwardly your decimal point. You shift inwardly your decimal point. You need to shift inwardly your decimal point. See what I'm talking about here? So let's go. Are you ready? Let's count. Count with me. Are you ready? Let's count together, okay? So let's go. We're shifting inwardly 3 times. Don't forget. So let's go because this has 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. So you're going 1, 2, and 3. So your point has moved from here to this place. Your point has moved from here to this place. And this is going to be your answer now. 0.2421. 0.2421. Now you can write your answer like this. There has to be 0 before the point. Therefore, your answer becomes 0.2421. And that is your answer. Very easy, right? Yes. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So that's how that is done. So let's go and look at our answer that we got over there so you can see what we're talking about. So you can see what we're talking about. So you can see our answer is 0.2421. 0.2421. So, but we can't leave it like this. You need to put 0 here. So you need to put 0 here. You need to put 0 here. So it becomes 0.2421. All right? It's not 0.2421. 0.2421. 0.2421. All right. So let's go to the next thing. Let's go to the next thing. All right. Now here we want to go to division of decimals by whole numbers. Division of decimals by whole numbers. Division of decimals by whole numbers. How is that one done? It's also done the same way. Very easy. Calm down. Relax. Mathematics is very easy. Just listen and open your eyes, open your mind, and follow through. All right? So let's see how this is done. All right? Example 1 says divide 4.562 by 2. Divide 4.562 by 2. Divide 4.562 by 2. Let's see how that is done. So you have, we're dividing decimal by whole numbers. 4.562 divided by 2. Now, I said here, this can be done in 2 ways. This can be done in 2 ways, either by short or long division. Either by short or long division. You can use long division to do this. You can as well use short division. You are going to arrive at the same answer. All right, come with me. Let's see how that is done. Come with me. Let's see how that is done. First, let's start with short division. Short division is this. You simply write out your dividend, that is the number you want to divide, which is 4.562. Right? When you're done with that, you will now write it over your divisor. 2. Is that clear? Over 2. Now you will now begin to divide gradually. You now begin to divide gradually. See what I'm saying about that? You begin to divide gradually. So this is what I'm saying. Say 2 here, 1. Is that okay? Then come up here and say 2 in 4, 2. Can you see? Put your point. Okay? 2 in 5, 2 remainder 1. Let me write my 2 well. 2, let me put my point well. 2 remainder 1. Put the 1 here. 1 and 6 becomes 16. 1 and 6 becomes 16. So 2 in 16 is 8. and 2 here is 1. Therefore, your answer is 2.281. Do you understand? I do it again. 4.562 divided by 2. This is our answer, okay? That's our answer there. But I want to do it again so you get it right. 2 divided by 2, 1, okay? 2 in 4, 2. Bring up your point over here. Are you following? Good. Then the next thing you say, 2 in 5 is 2. Write the answer above the number as you divide. Remainder 1, because 2 in 5, 2 times 2, 4. Take away 4 from 5, you are left with 1. Bring that 1 here, in between the number you divided and the new one. So 1 and 6 become 16. Then say 2 in 16 is 8. Then 2 in 2 is 1. That is how we got 2.281. That's how we got 2.281. I hope you can see that. That is 2.281. Let me write it down because of the reflection of the light. 2.281. I hope you can see it better now. The reflection of the light might not make you see this one. So 2.281 is our answer. All right, I'm going to clean that off and we're going to do long division. I'm going to clean that off and we're going to do long division. So let's do long division. Let's do long division. Long division is using this. This is how you use long division. Using long division. So this is what you do. You do this. Now, the number you're supposed to divide, the number you want to divide will always be inside. The number you want to divide will be inside. That is 4.562 will be inside. Why your divisor, which is the number you're using to divide, will be outside. Okay? Are you following? Then you say 2 in 4 is 2. Write the answer up. Okay? I go again. Say 2 in the whole number. 2 in 4 is what? 2. Write the number up. Write the number up. Then the number you are writing up, multiply it with this. Multiply it with this. Okay? You keep multiplying the answer you put up with your divisor. You keep multiplying the answer you put up with your divisor. So 2 times 2 is 4. Write the answer under the first, write the answer under the number you divided in the box. Then you say minus. 4 minus 4 is what? 0. Hello? 4 minus what? 4 is 0. Put your point up and bring down this 5. Okay? The same thing. Repeat the same thing. 2 in 5. Let me write that well. Bring down your 5 and say, can you see that is 5? Is it big enough? 5. So 2 in 5 is 2. Write it above the 5. Okay? Now repeat the same thing. Multiply the answer with the divisor. 2 times 2 again is 4. Write it over here and subtract like you did here. So subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Then bring down this 6. Bring down this 6. All right? Are you there with me? So that 1 and 6 is 16. 1 and 6 is 16. So 2 in 16, that is 8. Write it up here. All right? So repeat the same thing. Say 8 times 8, 8 times 2. The answer you got times your divisor. The answer is quotient times divisor. 8 times 2, 16. Then you subtract again. 6 minus 6, 0. 1 minus 1, 0. Finally, bring down your 2. Then say 2 in 2 is 1. Write it above here. Then repeat the same process. Say 1 times 2 is 2. Write the answer below here and subtract again. 2 minus 2 is 0. Therefore, our answer is what we got before, which is 2.281. But this is long. This is quite long, okay? That's why we call it long division. That's why it is called long division. But I hope you understand it. That's why it is called long division. So let's take one more example under that one before we continue. Let's take one more example under that one before we continue. Let's look at the example. Do we have another example? Okay, no. So that is how it is done. It is very easy. Very, very easy. I've shown you the short division. I've also shown you the long division. So let's go to the next thing. Let's go to the next thing. Let's go to the next thing. So let's go here. That is division of decimals by decimals. Division of decimals by decimals. I explained here, I said, to divide a decimal by another decimal, change both the dividend and the divisor to fractions. The number you want to divide and the number you want to use to divide, change both of them to fraction. Then the division sign changes to multiplication. And when that happens, the fraction at the right hand side flip side. That means the numerator now becomes the denominator and the denominators become the denominator. You see what I'm saying here? So let's take an example under that one. Under this now, division of decimals by decimals. So we're going to be dividing decimal by decimals. So we'll have the example. It says 0.48 divided by 0.6. Okay, so let's see how that is done. Let's see how that is done. It's done the same way, the easiest way. What I said in my explanation is change both of them to fraction. Change both of them to fraction. How? Change this one to fraction. This one changes. Now, watch me as I do this. 0.48 to fraction will be what? First of all, write your whole number, 48 over, how do you know what the denominator will be? That means number below. Look at the digits after decimal point. How many digits after decimal point? 1, 2. Because it is 2 digits after decimal point, therefore it will be over 100. Let me ask you a quick question. What if it was 1 digit after decimal point? What would it have been? If it was 1 digit after the decimal point, what would it have been? It would have been over 10. It would have been over 10. So it's because 2 digits after decimal point is over 100. So this one too would be done the same way. That one too will be done the same way. Pardon me, don't mind my marker. It's overfloating. So now let's go. This one, write your whole number. That is 6. Okay, over how many digits after the decimal point? 1. So that will be over 10. Now, what I said is now this. This sign will now change. The division sign will change to multiplication. Write your 48. 48 over 100. Now, this division sign will now change to multiplication. So it becomes times. This one will now flip side. 6 will come down and 10 will go up. 6 will come down and 10 will go up. So we now have 10 over 6. Is that clear? We now have 10 over 6. Is that clear? We now have 10 over 6. So 0 can cancel 0 over here. Okay? 1 0 cancel 1 0 over here. 6 can also go here. 6 here, 1. 6 in 48 is what? 8. Okay? So what you now have is what? 8 times 1 up here over 10 times 1 down here. 10 times 1. Okay? So what is 8 times 1? 8 times 1 is 8. What is 10 times 1? 10 times 1 is 10. So quickly, what would this answer give you? Because the question was given to you in decimal numbers, therefore your answer would be in decimal numbers. So 8 over 10 in decimal number will simply is what? Yes, good. 0.8 is 0.8. What it means is write your dividend Because this one has only 1 0. So your decimal point is coming in one time, 1. So it is 0.8. But you can't leave it like this. You have to make it, you have to put 0 here. So our answer is 0.8. Our answer is 0.8. That is how we got that. Our answer is 0.8. Our answer is 0.8. I hope that is clear. So let's continue. Let's continue. Now, I hope you have gotten that right. I hope you have gotten that right. So let's move on. Let's move on. Now, let's move on to the next thing. Yes, here is more exercise for you to do. We're going to quickly do this more exercise as fast as possible so that that will serve as revision for all that we have learned. For number 1, you have 255 divided by 5. Just simply, that one is so simple. Just say 255 over 5. Say 5 here 1, 5 in 25, 5, 5 in 50 in 5, 1. So answer is 51. Your answer is 51 for that one. Answer is 51. All right, number 2, you have 300 divided by 20. The same thing, say 300 over 20. These 2 0 cancel out. This 0 cancel this 0. Okay? Oh, let me just do this. Let me write. I'll do all of this again. Let me write number 1. Number 1, I'll do all of this again. 255 divided by 5. Number 2, 300 divided by 20. Number 3, 357 divided by 100. Number 4, 0.08 divided by 4. And number 5, you have 0.81 divided by 0.3. All right, so let me share my bigger screen so that you all can see it. Let me share my bigger screen so that you all can see it. All right, all right, hold on so that you all can see. Okay, so number one of the exercises, 255 over 5. So simple. Just say 5 here 1, 5 in 25, 5, 5 in 5, 1. So answer of that one is 51. Answer of that one is 51. Okay, let's take number 2. Number 2 says 300 divided by 20. This is how you do that. You write 300 over 20. These 2 zeros cancel out, all right? What you are left with is 30 over 2. 2 here 1, 2 in 3, 1 remainder, 1, 2 in 10, 5. Therefore, your answer to that one is 15. I am doing this for those of you, I know, some of you know, Mr. Obularu, 30 divided by 2 is 15, we know, yes. For those who might not know, that is why I was dividing gradually. I hope that is clear. So the answer to this one is 15. Let's go to number 3. Number 3, you have 357 divided by 100. And finally, how do you do that one? You write your dividend, which is 357 over 100. And I told you that if you are doing that, your numbers of zeros will determine how many places your decimal point is going to go into. How many places is going to go into. So what you do is this. Write your dividend, 357. How many zeros are these? 1, 2. So it's going in how many times? 2 times. 1, 2. So our answer is 3.57. Our answer is 3.57. So let's do the last one. You will do the other one by yourself. So 0.08 divided by 4. What you do is 0.08 over 4. You say 4 here 1, 4 in 0, 0. Put your point. 4 in this 0, 0. 4 in 8 is 2. So your answer is 0.02. All right, we have come, I hope did you see that? 0.02. And we have come to the end of today's class. I hope you have learned a lot, and I said that mathematics is quite easy. I love mathematics. What about you? Thank you for staying tuned and for listening. If you have any question, please feel free to send your questions to my Gmail. Until I come your way again, keeping safe, and always wash your hands. Always wash your hands under running water. Always wash your hands under running water with soap, and apply hand sanitizer. And if you must go out, make sure you're wearing a nose mask. Until I come your way again, I remain Mr. Ogunlaro. Bye for now. Love you all.